Yeah. Utah! What's up, baby? Back in this thing again for another review. This is Q's Insight. I'm Kelly, and today we're here to talk about Them Season 2. Alright? Now, if you've been in this channel before, you already know we do it. Started off with the premise. 3 favorite scenes. The great. And then we move to the next one, right? So again, we got Them Season 2. This just came out, hot off the press. 2024, you feel me? I think I did a review for Them Season 1. If I didn't, I gotta go back and do one. Because I did watch that, when it first came out. And I'll just say that I did like that. I know that it's very controversial just because of, a lot of the racial tension and racial things that go on as far as like for black people in that show. It was kind of a little traumatizing for people, right? They couldn't even get through the whole season. Me, I got through it. I enjoyed it. And I was really, really looking forward for Season 2. So we're finally here with Them Season 2. Now, I thought that this was going to be a continuation to the first season. And without spoilers, I'll just say that there is a little bit of a continuation, but mainly if this series keeps going on, it's basically going to be an anthology. This is basically the Black American Horror Story. All right. So even though American Horror Story, some of the stories connected, it was always something like new going on for each season. Where there was the same actors playing different characters. It was always something else going on, right? So this is going to be the same thing for this if this continues to do good and they get a Season 3. But, for Season 1 to Season 2, you're going to see that. You're going to see some of the same actors being in Season 2, reprising a different role, though. Being a different character. Same actor, different character. All right, so Them Season 2. Basically, it takes place in 1991. A lot of heightened tension of the LA riots and things like that for a lot of tension for LA riots and things like that because you had Rodney King beating that happened. But Dawn is the main character. She is a detective, and she is a detective, a police officer in the wrong time. Like I said, this is 1991. A lot of things have happened, and so this is a crazy situation for anybody of color to be a police officer during this time, right? You can just think about it. But you have a killing that occurs which is very brutal, very horrible. They find this body that's underneath the sink, and it's completely broken up in order to fit in there. And this is such a horrific killing to the point where it's like, who is even capable of doing these type of things? You never really see bodies be broken down and formed in the way that they were, unless that people get hit by trains or cars, things like that, right? But ends up being that this is an entity doing this, and we come to find out who this entity is. We come to find out a little bit of how he was brought about. Now, there's a little confusion as far as, like I said, was this entity alive this whole time before this story occurs, or was this an entity that was born with this story? Okay. But Dawn is the character, one of the main characters that we follow. There's also another character named Edmund that we follow, and we end up finding out that in this story, Edmund's story, his part of the story takes place 2 years prior to 1991. And when we're seeing the story take place with Dawn, we're finding out that it's 1991 at this point. So when we see Edmund, we find out that he's a trouble guy, you know what I'm saying? Smart dude though, you know what I'm saying? Kind of struggling, has a okay job, whatever it may be. His dream is to be an actor. He can't necessarily find the role, but eventually he kind of does, and that's to be a serial killer. Now, when he takes it upon himself to become this role, he ends up being really good at it, but he doesn't know when to turn the switch off for the acting. Ends up freaking out certain people, ruining his relationships with certain people, losing his job, and kind of losing himself at the same time. Going down this spiraling hole, he ends up becoming a murderer, right? And eventually sacrifices himself to this entity, and this entity is the one that's making these killings later on down the line in 1991. Now, for the reason of the entity killing certain people and why he's doing this, why did Edmund become a killer, you know, what was the driving force for all of these things? The answers are there in the season, in this season. You know, like I said, I don't want to give out too much because this just came out, you know, and if anybody wants to watch this season, I suggest that you do it and do it as quickly as possible so you don't get no spoilers. But I will say that you will still have questions by the end of the season, but you know what I'm saying, a lot of things are answered. You know, so it's fleshed out very well. You may be like, come to see episode 5 or 6, you'll be like, what is going on? You know, by 7 or 8, everything is explained. Everything is explained. So you just gotta kind of stick it out, you know. But I didn't want to give too much, like I said. So that, I think I'm gonna leave it like that. You know, you basically got Don, the detective, trying to figure out what's going on. Why are these certain people getting killed? And why are they brutally being killed like this? You know, what type of entity, what type of force could be could apply this type of pressure to kill somebody? You know what I'm saying? We're following that and learning more about Don and learning more about Edmund. And like I said, there are definitely other characters in the story. I just feel like the main two that you really focus on are Edmund and Don, though. So that's where I'm gonna leave it. That's a good enough premise for you. 3 of my favorite scenes. I don't know if I'm gonna do 3 of my favorite scenes or 3 of my favorite episodes, but I'll try to do 3 of my favorite scenes. First off, the opening scene, when you see the caretaker killed. You don't necessarily see how she got killed until the ending of the episode. That was brutal as well. But just to see her body be crumpled up and formed to be underneath that that sink, it was just it just was crazy to me. So that'd be one of my favorite scenes right there. Number 2, you know, I like seeing the situation where we see Edmund really do his first killing, and we see how the way that that he murders this person is somewhat of the way that the entity murders people throughout the season. All right, so that'll be my second favorite scene. My third favorite scene, you know what? It would honestly be when Edmund was doing the tryout for the murderer, and he has like the mask on and everything like that, and the paint underneath the mask, and he kind of just has like this whole like psycho / killer like mentality going on, and everybody that's sitting there about the trial for this part, they look at him like, oh, this dude is really about that. You know what I'm saying? And there's a few situations that happens while he's there when he's going to do the audition to where it's like, yeah, this dude is off his rocker. You know what I'm saying? But that'd be my third favorite scene. The grade for this season, man, I thought it was a good story. I thought it was a great season. I did like season 1 a little bit more. but I do like this season as well. So for them, season 2, I'm going to give it a 7.9 out of 10. Okay, 7.9 out of 10. Definitely above average. Definitely worth your time if you can stomach this stuff. I know people really had a problem with the first season, but this one is a little bit more easier in the stomach. Still got some of that stuff in there, but still it's easier in the stomach. I suggest you guys watch it. All right. Them season 2, 7.9 out of 10. Definitely worth your time. All right. Please remember to like, subscribe, and share. As always, this is Q's Insight. I'm Kelly. Until next time.